Okay, so today we're diving deep into a topic that I think hits home for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Sex, intimacy, and love.
Ooh, the good stuff.
We had a chance to really unpack this with licensed sex therapist Vanessa Marin.
Nice.
And I gotta tell you, there were some seriously eye-opening insights and practical advice
For real.
that I think can help all of us, no
Absolutely.
matter where we are in our journey, single, partnered, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is for everyone.
Enhance this really core part of our lives.
That's right. And, chances are if you're listening to this right now, you've probably had your own questions,
Oh, yeah,
maybe even some struggles around sex and intimacy
definitely.
and pleasure, whether you're single or in a relationship. So we really crafted this deep dive with you in mind to kind of give you that clarity and some actionable steps you can take.
Yeah, and our guide in this exploration is, like I said, Vanessa Marin. She's a licensed psychotherapist and sex therapist
Wow.
with over 20 years of experience.
That's a lot.
Yeah. She's also a New York Times bestselling author of Sex Talks
I love that book.
and co-host of the Pillow Talks podcast. So she really knows her stuff, and she's great at breaking things down,
Yeah, she makes it really accessible.
making it feel like, okay, we can actually talk about this.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that a lot of us feel this kind of awkwardness or maybe even embarrassment
Oh,
when
totally.
it comes to even thinking about or talking about sex,
Yeah.
especially if we're in a long-term relationship, And Vanessa, she points out that this discomfort, it's not like we're born with it.
Yeah,
It's something we learn.
it's learned behavior.
It is. And the good news is that if it's learned, it can be unlearned.
We can unlearn it.
We can, and open communication is kind of the bedrock for any positive change in that realm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we really trying to achieve in this deep dive today?
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's about taking Vanessa's expertise
Mm-hmm.
and finding those nuggets of practical, grounded advice that can actually lead to
Yeah.
maybe having more sex. Deeper emotional connection.
Deeper connection.
More fun in the bedroom, more satisfaction,
Yeah.
a better understanding of our own desires and our partner's desires,
Absolutely.
and what intimacy really means.
I love it.
So I think the best place to start, and Vanessa starts here too,
Okay.
with this idea that
Yeah.
we've kind of been sold a lie about what sex is supposed to be.
A lie? What do you mean?
Yeah, like the media, movies, TV shows, they often give us this
Oh, I see what you mean.
this picture of
Yeah.
sex
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
not exactly realistic for a lot of people.
Unrealistic, definitely.
And so we end up with these expectations that don't match our own experiences.
Right. And that can be tough.
Yeah, and it can lead to confusion, it can lead to feeling inadequate,
Yeah.
maybe even faking it,
Yeah. We've all been there.
or settling for less satisfaction than we deserve.
We deserve to enjoy it.
We do.
Yeah.
So Vanessa suggests that we need to shift gears a little bit
Okay. How do we do that?
and be willing to communicate openly and honestly about what's really going on.
Communication is key.
It is, yeah. Now, beyond just addressing those feelings of dissatisfaction,
Yeah.
what are some of the positive changes that an improved sex life can bring to our lives?
Well, I think the cool thing is when you start working on your sex life, it can have a ripple effect in other areas too.
It's not just the bedroom.
Exactly. You can feel closer to your partner, more connected, more well-being overall.
That makes sense.
It does. And even if you're single, getting this stuff figured out can be a huge help when you do get into a relationship.
Yeah, kind of like laying the groundwork.
Exactly. And, it's consistently shown that a satisfying sexual relationship is a huge part of successful romantic partnerships.
It's a key ingredient.
It is.
Yeah. Now, here's something that I found really interesting that Vanessa talked about.
Okay.
She said a lot of couples make this mistake of thinking about sex as something separate
Separate from what?
from the rest of their relationship.
Oh, I see.
Like it's just this thing you do at the end of the day.
Yeah, like a chore almost.
Exactly. But she emphasizes that our daily lives and our intimate experiences
Mm-hmm.
are actually super interconnected.
Totally.
Like how connected or disconnected you feel with your partner throughout the day actually has a huge impact on your desire for intimacy later on.
Yeah, if you're feeling distant all day,
Yeah.
chances are you're not going to be jumping into bed at night.
Right. And she said that if you find yourselves acting more like roommates,
Roommates.
yeah, like just managing tasks.
Oh, like dividing and conquering the to-do list.
Yeah, instead of like romantic partners who are actually sharing a life,
Right.
that emotional distance is going to show up in the bedroom.
Makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Mm.
And I think it's so easy to fall into that trap
Yeah.
when we're focused on who's doing the laundry, who's paying the bill.
Oh, yeah, the daily grind.
Yeah, all that stuff.
It can really suck the romance out of things.
Totally. But Vanessa offered this really interesting perspective on this.
Okay, what is it?
She suggested that intimacy can actually be a source of energy.
A source of energy. How so?
Yeah, like when you're connected and intimate, you might find that you actually have more energy.
Huh, that's interesting.
You can get more done. You feel more in sync as a couple.
So it's not just draining, it can actually be energizing.
Exactly. And she even told this story about how
Oh, I love her story.
she and her husband had this super busy day.
Yeah.
And they had planned to be intimate.
Okay.
And she was like, no way. We have way too much to do.
Yeah, I've been there.
But her husband reminded her that their connection was more important than the to-do list.
Oh, that's sweet.
It was. And so they made time for intimacy. And what's really interesting is,
What happened?
after that, they were so much more focused and efficient.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they got everything done.
So it actually helped them.
Yeah, like that intimacy kind of fueled them.
Huh. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, right? And this brings us to another really important distinction that Vanessa makes,
Okay.
which is the two types of sexual desire.
Two types. I thought there was just one.
No, there are two. There's spontaneous desire
There is.
and responsive desire.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So spontaneous desire is that feeling of wanting sex that kind of just pops into your head.
Yeah, out of the blue.
Yeah, and then it leads to physical arousal.
I think that's what we usually see in movies.
Right, it's like the classic portrayal.
Yeah.
But responsive desire is actually more common,
More common.
especially for women.
Okay, tell me more.
So with responsive desire, it's the physical arousal that comes first,
Okay.
and then the mental desire follows.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you start feeling sensations in your body,
Okay.
and then your mind catches up and is like, oh yeah, this feels good. I'm into this.
Okay, so your body kind of leads the way.
Exactly. And Vanessa says that around 85% of women experience responsive desire primarily.
85%. Wow, that's a lot.
It is, yeah. And so a lot of people might mistakenly think they have low desire.
Yeah, if they're not feeling that spontaneous urge all the time,
Exactly. But it's just that their desire works differently.
it's just a different type.
Yeah. And for someone with responsive desire, just thinking about sex isn't usually enough to get them in the mood.
Yeah.
They need some kind of physical stimulation
Oh, I see.
or sensual touch
Yeah, that makes sense.
to kind of kickstart that desire.
Okay, so what happens when both partners have responsive desire?
Well, that's when you can run into what Vanessa calls a standoff.
A standoff.
Yeah, because both people are waiting for the other one to initiate.
Oh, I see, because their desire is triggered by those physical cues.
Exactly. And if neither one is really having those spontaneous thoughts about sex,
Then it's just this waiting game.
yeah, and intimacy can really dwindle.
Yeah, no one wants to feel like they're always the one initiating.
Right. And this really highlights how important it is to talk openly about sex,
Communication is key.
which ironically is the thing we often avoid the most.
It can be so awkward.
It can be, but there's so much fear and discomfort around these conversations.
Yeah.
And that can lead to all sorts of misunderstandings.
Misunderstandings, like what?
Like if we're not talking about our desires and what's not working,
Mm-hmm.
our minds tend to fill in the blanks.
Our minds can be our worst enemies.
And we often jump to these negative conclusions.
Negative conclusions.
Like maybe your partner thinks you're blaming them
Yeah.
or that you're not happy with them.
Oh, that's no good.
But maybe that's not true at all.
Right. We need to talk about it.
Exactly. Now, there's this question that often comes up
Okay, what is it?
about whether emotional intimacy should come before physical intimacy
Oh, that's a good one.
or vice versa.
Yeah, like which one is more important?
Right. And Vanessa says there's no one-size-fits-all answer
Of course.
because what feels emotionally intimate to one person might not feel that way to someone else.
Yeah, everyone's different.
So it really requires us to think about what actually makes us feel connected.
It's about knowing yourself.
It is, yeah. And she said that some people need to feel emotionally secure before they can enjoy physical intimacy, while others find that physical intimacy actually helps them feel more emotionally close.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's about figuring out where you and your partner fall on that spectrum.
It's like a dance, finding that balance.
It is, yeah. And speaking of expectations, let's talk about this myth of spontaneous sex.
A myth.
Yeah, especially in long-term relationships.
Okay, what's the myth?
It's this idea that sex should always be this unplanned,
Yeah.
magical thing that just happens.
Right, like in the movies.
Exactly. But the Vanessa says that's not realistic for most couples.
Especially after the honeymoon phase is over.
Right. And holding on to that expectation can actually set us up for disappointment.
Disappointment.
Yeah. Because we might start thinking something's wrong if we're not having spontaneous sex all the time.
Oh, I see.
So Vanessa suggests that we reframe this idea of scheduling sex.
Scheduling sex, it sounds so unromantic.
I know, but instead of thinking of it as scheduling,
Okay.
think of it as planning for sex
Planning for sex.
or intentional intimacy.
Intentional intimacy. I like that better.
Right. Or even just a dedicated date night.
Date night.
Yeah, the point is to consciously make time and space for connection.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
And if you think back to the early days of dating,
Oh, yeah.
dates were all about intentionally creating opportunities for intimacy.
Right. Like, you'd get dressed up, go out to dinner.
Yeah.
And there was always that possibility of things getting romantic. So
Oh, yeah.
why does it feel so weird to plan for that later in a relationship?
It's a good question. I think we get so caught up in the day-to-day
Yeah.
that we forget to prioritize those intentional moments.
We do.
Yeah. And Vanessa also talked about this really practical aspect
Okay, what's that?
of how to transition from our busy day
Mm-hmm.
to a more relaxed and intimate mindset.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy to switch gears from work stress to being in the mood for intimacy.
Definitely not.
So she suggests creating a transition ritual.
A transition ritual.
Yeah, it's basically just a simple activity that you do together
Okay.
to help both of you shift gears.
Like a signal that it's time to relax.
Exactly. She said that she misses cooking dinner with her husband regularly
Oh.
because that was their transition ritual.
It was their way of connecting afterwards.
Exactly. And it helped them to kind of de-stress and reconnect before they even thought about intimacy.
That's so smart.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. And it doesn't have to be cooking.
It could be anything.
It could be anything, just something you do together.
Yeah, to unwind and reconnect.
Exactly. Okay, now let's talk about this feeling
Okay.
that I think a lot of people experience,
What's that?
which is the desire to feel desired.
Oh, yeah. We all want to feel wanted.
We do, and Vanessa says this is especially true for people who are used to being in charge.
In charge.
Yeah, like maybe they're the ones who take initiative at work
Mm-hmm.
or in other areas of their life.
Okay.
And so in the bedroom,
Yeah.
they really crave that feeling of being pursued.
Of being on the receiving end.
Exactly. Like they want to feel like someone else is taking the lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, and she emphasizes that this doesn't have to be like some fairy tale romance.
Right.
It's more about experiencing a different dynamic
A different dynamic.
in the intimate space
Okay.
where they can let go of control.
And just be present.
Exactly. And this leads to the importance of shared responsibility when it comes to initiating intimacy.
Shared responsibility.
Yeah, like both partners should feel comfortable taking the lead.
Because everyone wants to feel wanted.
Exactly. And if both partners have responsive desires,
Yeah.
it's even more important to plan those intimate moments together.
So it's not always falling on one person.
Right. And let's clear up this misconception that all intimacy has to lead to intercourse.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Because that can create a lot of pressure.
Pressure.
Yeah. And it can make people avoid even non-sexual touch.
Because they're afraid it'll lead to sex.
Exactly. And Vanessa has this term for that,
What is it?
the bristle response.
The bristle response? That's a good one.
Yeah, it's that feeling of recoiling when your partner tries to touch you
Oh, yeah, I've definitely felt that.
because you think it's going to lead to sex.
Yeah, and you're not in the mood.
Right. And she says it often comes from this learned association between touch and sex
Such and sex.
and a fear of feeling obligated or pressured.
Yeah, like you don't want to feel like you have to say yes.
Right. So what's the solution?
What can we do about it?
Vanessa suggests increasing the amount of non-sexual touch in your relationship.
Non-sexual touch.
Yeah, like hugging, cuddling, holding hands,
Oh, that's nice.
just to break that automatic association.
So it's not always about sex.
Exactly. And also to be more direct and verbal about your intentions.
Verbal communication.
Yeah, like if you want to cuddle, just say, I want to cuddle.
Yeah, that makes things so much clearer.
It does. And if you know that a casual touch isn't automatically going to escalate,
Yeah.
you're more likely to relax and enjoy it.
I like that.
Yeah. Now, here's a piece of advice from Vanessa that I found really surprising.
Okay, I'm ready.
She suggests having sex before you go out on a date night.
Before. I thought it was usually after.
I know, right?
Why would you do it before?
Well, she says, think about a typical date night.
Okay.
You go out, you have dinner, you maybe have some drinks,
Mm-hmm.
you're dressed up,
Yeah.
you get home, you're tired.
And full.
Yeah, sex is probably the last thing on your mind.
It's true.
But if you prioritize intimacy beforehand,
Before you go out.
yeah, you'll be more energized and connected for your date.
Huh. Interesting.
And it creates this little secret between the two of you
A little secret.
while you're out, which can be kind of fun.
I like that.
Right. Okay, now what about those times when your partner initiates and you're just not feeling it?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. But Vanessa says we need to challenge this expectation.
Expectation?
Yeah, that we should always be ready to go when our partner is.
Oh, like we should always be in the mood.
Exactly. But we're individuals. We have our own rhythms.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying no, she suggests using the phrase, "Are you open to being intimate?"
Are you open to being intimate?
Yeah, it shifts the focus from specifically sex to
Okay.
a broader sense of connection.
So it's not just about intercourse.
Right. It opens up the possibility for other forms of intimacy.
Yeah, without the pressure.
Exactly.
Huh?
And it also gives your partner a chance to express what they're really looking for.
That's good.
Yeah. Now, if we want to deepen our sexual dialogue with our partners, are there any specific questions Vanessa recommends asking?
Yeah, she has two really good ones.
look at me.
The first is, how would you describe what great sex feels like for you?
Okay. For you. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's about focusing on their individual experience.
And the emotions and sensations.
Exactly. Like, do they want to feel connected afterwards, playful, safe?
Blissed out.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay, and what's the second question?
The second question is, what makes sex worth having for you?
Ooh, that's deep.
It is. It's about understanding their motivations and priorities.
Like, what are they hoping to get out of it?
Exactly.
So it's about more than just the physical act.
Yeah, it's about the whole experience.
Okay, love that. And Vanessa also talked about these small things.
Small things.
Yeah, that can make a big difference in our sex lives.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So the first one is gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, she says research shows that expressing gratitude is a huge predictor of marital satisfaction.
That makes sense.
And marital satisfaction is obviously connected to sexual intimacy.
It's all related.
It is, yeah. So just taking the time to appreciate your partner
Can really go a long way.
can make a big difference. The second thing is physical contact.
Physical contact.
And specifically, she says aiming for a 6-second kiss and a 20-30-second hug regularly.
Those specific durations.
Yeah, because those lengths of time have been shown to release oxytocin.
Oh, the bonding hormone.
Exactly. And the third thing is eye contact.
Eye contact.
It sounds simple,
It does.
but it's so powerful for feeling connected.
Yeah, it makes you feel seen.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. So just incorporating those little things into your day
Can really make a difference.
can really strengthen your bond.
Yeah.
Now, Vanessa also shared 3 things that she personally would never do.
Never do as a sex therapist.
Yeah, based on her experience.
Okay, what are they?
She said she would never fake an orgasm.
Good one.
She would never mock her partner for initiating sex,
Even if it's a bad time.
even if it's a bad time.
Okay.
And she would never take her partner's performance issues personally.
Those are all good.
Yeah, and they all contribute to creating a more honest and supportive environment.
A safe space for intimacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she also created this tool called the Sex Talks card deck.
A card deck.
Yeah, it goes along with her book.
The Sex Talks book.
Yeah, and it's basically a fun and approachable way to start conversations about sex.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because sometimes those conversations can be awkward.
Definitely.
So the cards have different prompts and questions,
Okay.
often framed as would you rather questions.
Would you rap?
Yeah, so it's not so serious.
Yeah, like a game.
Yeah, and they cover all sorts of topics,
Like what?
like the ideal length of sexual encounters.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one to talk about.
Yeah, because a lot of couples have different expectations around that.
You do.
And it can lead to problems if they're not on the same page.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's talk about pleasure,
Pleasure, yeah.
and specifically female pleasure,
Okay.
because Vanessa emphasizes that enjoyable sex is essential for desire.
Of course.
Like, if sex isn't pleasurable, why would you want to do it?
Exactly. No one wants to do something that doesn't feel good.
Right, and she says that there's often an imbalance in heterosexual relationships.
Imbalance.
Yeah, where male pleasure is unintentionally prioritized,
Oh, I see.
and women are left feeling unsatisfied.
yeah, that's not fair.
It's not, and she uses this really powerful analogy
Okay, I love analogies.
to explain the difference in nerve endings between the vagina and the clitoris.
Okay.
So the vagina has relatively few nerve endings.
Compared to the clitoris,
Yeah, and the clitoris has thousands.
wow, a big difference.
Yeah, so she says relying solely on intercourse for a woman's orgasm
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like playing with a man's balls.
Oh.
Like, it might feel okay, but it's not going to get you there.
Not to the desired outcome.
Exactly. You need direct stimulation of the clitoris.
For most women to orgasm.
Yeah, and we're so open about the fact that men need penile stimulation,
Right.
but there's often this misconception or lack of awareness.
Around clitoral stimulation.
Exactly. And it's so important to prioritize both partners' pleasure.
For a truly satisfying experience.
It is, yeah.
Mm.
And Vanessa also talked about the internal barriers.
Internal barriers.
Yeah, that can prevent us from fully experiencing pleasure.
Like what?
Like feeling like we don't deserve pleasure.
Yeah, I felt that.
Yeah. And she says these beliefs can come from societal messages or past experience.
Past experiences.
Yeah, and she encourages us to think about where those beliefs came from
Okay.
and whether we want to keep letting them control us.
Yeah, because we all deserve pleasure.
We do. And talking to your partner about these feelings can be really helpful.
Communication again.
It always comes back to that. Now we need to address the impact of past trauma.
Past trauma.
Yeah, on our sexual experiences.
That's a heavy one.
It is, but it's so important to talk about.
Yeah.
Because things like sexual abuse, infidelity, or even just adverse childhood events can have a huge impact on our ability to connect sexually.
A lasting impact.
Yeah. And Vanessa says it's crucial to acknowledge and validate those connections,
Even if it happened a long time ago.
even if it feels like it's in the past.
Okay.
And she encourages survivors to talk openly with their partner.
Open communication.
Yeah. And to make it clear that those past experiences...
To reflect on the current relationship.
Exactly. And for partners of survivors, it's all about creating a sense of safety
Safety, yeah.
by letting the survivor be in control,
Okay.
checking in regularly about their comfort levels,
Yeah.
being willing to stop if they need to, and even creating safe lists,
Safe lists.
yeah, of preferred touches and experiences.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and she has a free guide on her website.
It's to the website.
It's vmtherapy.com for free.
Okay. vmtherapy.com/free.
That has more information and resources on this topic.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
what's the one thing Vanessa would tell us to do today?
To improve our sex life.
To improve our sex life.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it with your partner.
Open communication.
It's the foundation of a healthy and fulfilling sex life.
Just like any other part of a relationship.
Exactly.
And even if it feels awkward at first,
Yeah.
it gets easier with practice.
And more rewarding.
More rewarding, yeah. So the takeaway here,
What have we learned?
communicate openly.
Okay.
Understand how desire works
Mm-hmm.
and prioritize pleasure for both partners.
Prioritize pleasure.
And even small steps in those areas
You make a big difference.
can lead to huge positive changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Vanessa encourages you, our listeners, to take some action today.
Action.
Maybe start a conversation with your partner. Inspired by something you heard in this deep dive.
Yeah.
You could even listen to this together.
As a starting point.
Yeah. And remember, intimacy, pleasure, a fulfilling sex life.
They're within your reach.
They are, and you deserve them.
You do.
So here's a final thought for you to ponder.
Okay.
What's one small, intentional act of connection
Small active connection.
you can initiate with your partner today,
Today.
no matter how busy you are?
Yeah, even if you're swamped.
Maybe it's a longer hug, a moment of eye contact, bringing up one of those questions we talked about.
Yeah, just one small thing.
Just one small thing
To shift the dynamic.
to start moving towards more intimacy and pleasure.
I love.
Me too.
Oscar.